Hello, darlings. How are you? I'm going impromptu today. It's 3 o'clock. Oh, what better time, on a Friday. That's a lovely time. How are you? How's everyone out there today? I hope you can't hear my parents' television in the background. Hello, darlings. How are you? Hello. Hi, Stacy. How are you, darling? So I thought, okay, so ignore my outfit, okay? This is my work clothes, and so, hello, darlings, how are you? So I was going to say, ignore I'm working on a paint project, and I didn't want to change into my typical, my green dress that I normally wear, or my little flowered one. So pardon me on my clothing. It looks a bit ratty, doesn't it? Hello, Mary. How are you? Hi. Hello, Robin. Hello, Charlotte. Hello, darlings. How are you? I'm so happy that you guys are decided to come visit me. I wasn't planning on going live, and then I was like, can you tell I had a little lie down? I advocate for naps every day, darling. It reminds me of Tasha Tudor. She always took a nap all the way up until right when she passed. Does everyone know who Tasha Tudor is? Hello, darlings. How are you? Um, do you know who Tudor is? Do any of you? Hello, darlings. Should I put my glasses on so I could read? Because I'm terrible. But anyway, look, I've got my little puffy eyes. I don't know if you can see my freckles, but yeah, I apologize. I look a bit rough, don't I? But you know what? We're all normal people here, aren't we? Hello, darlings. Then a midday nap. I know, right? I love a midday lie down. Maybe that's what keeps us young, you know what I mean? Um, it reminds me of when I had children. If you've had children, you can relate, or if you've raised children. um, I remember that was one of my biggest wishes because, like I said, I began having my children when I was really, really young, right? So 21, I had just turned 21 when I had Carter, my oldest son, and so then you have them. I mean, I had mine like back to back to back, little. I call them little doorsteps, and so by the time I was 26, I had had all of my children. My fourth child, right? Zoe Kennedy, and I just remember from the time that pardon me, that they were growing up, I used to dream. I thought that is my biggest dream, is that I'm going to be able to take a nap whenever I want to, and I don't have to be woken up. You know what I mean? I don't have to only get 30 minutes here or whatever. And I just dreamt of that. I thought, oh, when the children were all out of the nest, I'm going to get to take naps whenever I want, and I still do it every single day. Jeffrey Sean knows. Oh, are you going to be having your nap, darling? And I was like, no, you could call me here or there, whenever. Um, yeah, me too, Stacey. I love napping. There's something so lovely about it. Um, it's so needed, don't you think? That is clever. Oh, yeah. Little doorsteps, I call them little doorsteps. So I thought what would be a lovely, hello, darlings. Thank you so much. I love talking to you. Um, so I wanted to talk about a few things. The one thing that I wanted to chat about was I thought it would be really good to go to reminisce and go back to that particular thing that I was going to talk about manifestation and divine timing, because I think that there's been I want to clarify a couple of things, because if you watch anything about manifestation or Neville Goddard or any kind of like techniques that you hear people talking about, little spiritual gurus and all that, I wanted to clarify some things, because me manifesting and learning all of these things, and how I created the alchemy of mermaidology and stuff. And so this is very important for me when I'm creating these programs and stuff to share with other people. I want them to be almost foolproof. And so I think sometimes the clarification needs to be said, uh, because some people just they get it wrong, and they share this information that's not absolutely correct because they haven't really lived the law of assumption or understanding things about how to manifest and what the law that Neville Goddard was talking about. And so it confuses some people. And then because I've seen this happen so many times, is that they get excited about manifestation, right? You get excited about manifestation, and then when you try to manifest certain things and they don't come to be, oftentimes, oh, this is like deja vu or something. Have we all skipped timelines, you guys, because we're on the Lions Gate? Like I feel like I've already talked about this before. Maybe I have because I ramble on so much. What are your thoughts on? Hold on, let me put my glasses on, okay, darling. Did you pour a cuppa? Did you pour a cuppa? Hold on, what was that you said? Oh crap, I can't see it. So what was I saying? Sometimes you'll have to cliff note me, darlings, because I get on tangents. Rambling Razzie is what they should call me. What was that? I'm getting excited to that for sure. What was that? Let me see what that said. Oh my God! Do you like Red Dead Redemption? Oh my God, my children loved playing that. Got my tea right here. Oh, good Charlotte, good Charlotte. Nick, don't be daft, okay, darling. Don't be daft. Let me see what that was. What were your thoughts on the Lionsgate portal? Um, don't you love when they? I was just meditating yesterday. Speaking of this, and yesterday when I was meditating, I was thinking of, I was talking to Jeffrey Sean, and I said, you know what? I'm sick and tired. He was like, tamper down, darling, tamper down. I mean, I was getting so riled up. I was talking about the chickens and the chicken coop and how I was going to use that particular incident about, I couldn't find two of the eggs, okay? And so the chicken coop that my hens are in now, okay? This is my fourth set of hens. And I think I've told y'all this before, or maybe if you read my little stories, oftentimes you should go follow me on the Instagram, because I'll have little stories and I'll go on tangents, and I really love the stories, and I'll go and riff on there all the time. But anyway, I was talking about how there was a metaphor that I said, oh, this would be such a good, I was telling Jeffrey Sean, this would be such a good metaphor for a teaching element, because how many times that I couldn't find the eggs from the two hens, and I knew that they had laid, because hens make a certain amount of a different noise when they're laying an egg, okay? And so I know I had heard them, all four of them laying eggs yesterday, but I could only find two eggs in the little nesting basket. And there was one other time that they had laid on the back of the hail bay, the bay, the hay bale. And so they had kind of like made a little nest in there, and but it wasn't there. The eggs weren't there. And I'm like, did they just not lay? And so I was rifling around trying to find them, and I was like, screw it, I don't care. I'll just find them tomorrow, maybe, if they're there. And I've been frustrated, okay? Pardon me. I've been frustrated about the the chicken coop. Now, and the reason for this is because there, I'm getting to the point. Okay. So the reason that I've been frustrated is because we're in the middle of a move. Okay. So I moved a total in my entire life, probably 28 times, 29 times now. And because most of those moves were with my ex, okay? And so I've become a master professional at moving. Like I can move you in like 2 days. Like I know how to do it really, really, really well. Not that I like doing it, but I've done it, okay? And so that was one of the things that I hated so much is about moving so many times. Like you never get your footing on the ground, because you never know when you're going to have to move again. And so you never have any grounded foundation. And so it was very, very disturbing for me. And so I think that's what's coming up, speaking of the Lion's Gate, there's so many things that whatever you're going through in life right now, we're purging. So everything that you thought was like cycled out, like we're getting one more little hit that it's going to go, okay, we're going to pivot one more time. But this isn't about recycling the whole thing again, right? Because the Lion's Gate, right? So we're thinking of the 888 like it's an infinity, okay? And this is my 2 cents, and you could squash it if you wanted to. But it's this purging of coming up and looking at these same things that you're like, okay, the universe is basically testing us to say, okay, are you sure you're not going to recycle this? Okay, here's another temptation. Once again, are you going to go backwards or to recycle it again and again and again, right? Because if you've been noticing within the last 2 years, we keep cycling through like, oh, are you going to revisit that friendship again? Oh, are you going to let those people that were really, really awful when you were down and out, are you going to let them come back in? Because now they're clawing their ways. It's like crabs in a bucket. You know what I'm saying? Like, are those same people going to come back in and be like, hey, we got to pull you back down because now we see you're elevating and your frequency is rising, and we can't have that. So they're going to kind of try to step back into our lives again, for those dysfunctional relationships, that ex that you kicked to the curb. Are you sure they kind of want to just, oh, I've changed, I've turned a new leaf? Oftentimes, no, none of these people have. I'm not saying that that's always the case, but for my own personal life, I've had 4 people already within the last 2 months try and weasel their way back into my life. And I'm like, no. When I was having a really, really difficult time, you weren't anywhere to be found. You're not coming back in. I've learned my lesson. I'm tapping that out. Nope, we're cutting that cord. Absolutely not. Not for me. Not for me. We're not doing it. But the universe is going to test us one last time to see if we learn the lesson or if we're going to want to recycle it again. Did we not learn something in there? Because if not, then it doesn't matter. It's going to recycle itself and you'll get back on that. What do you call it? It's not the rat. What do you call that? The little wheel. What do you call it, my loves? Yeah, I dress this way because I love it. Yeah. Yes, Mary. Yes, perfect. Oh, that's perfect, darling. Yeah, it's like spring cleaning. You're absolutely right. Yeah, yeah. Um, The hamster wheel. Thank you, Charlotte. Thank you, Stacy. Yes, darlings. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Um, Rat race, Susan. So true. Hey, have you liked the Little House on the Prairie books? Well, Little House on the Big Woods in the Big Woods. Karma. Yes, yes, my darling. Yes. Um. So, oh, thank you, darling. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, obviously, it's not pulling very many views, of me reading aloud the books, but I still think that it's fun and I'm going to do it. And I changed it to where like children could listen to it too, because I think it would be kind of lovely. You, you, Mary, are you talking about me reading the Little House in the Big Woods book? Because I was like, is nobody enjoying this? Because maybe I shouldn't do it. I mean, it's not going to pull like hardly any revenue, but you know how I am. I'm not going to not do something because it doesn't pull big views. Like I'm very much into being trying to remain authentic and very much for the love. Yes, yes, okay. Very much for the love of me wanting to have a community with y'all. And, I waited my whole life to have a community of people that understand me. And, oh, thank you, darling. That understand me and are kind to me for, me being a channeler and things like that, because I've never had that in my life, especially with my family, and so I just wanted to know if you thought that that was still a good idea. I mean, I'm still going to do it because I still think it's fun to run through all of the books. I think it would be really, really. Oh yeah, thank you, thank you, darling. Um, can I just call you Ro? Because ha, yeah, you ordered a reading from me, and I got your name wrong. I'm sorry. Thank you, Mary. You're so lovely. Thank you, Ronnie. 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 Am I getting it close? Bye, Donna. Bye, darling. Uh, hello, Ronnie. Ronnie. Should it flow more? Not. It's Ron A, not Ron B. What? I'm trying to understand. Joke. Oh, you dork. You're cute. Thank you. Okay, so should we get back to um no, I don't hold lives every night. I usually try to go live every week, but I've been really I've got all these projects, where people hire me to do like artistic things, interior design things or whatever. Because um, that was my former life as well, being an interior designer. And I'm trying to do all of that and do all of my, my personal channeled readings that I get, from my Etsy shop. And then I also have, I'm trying to finish up packing and all of that. And so it's been a lot, it's not like I'm complaining. I'm not complaining, darlings, I promise. But I thought what would be fun is let's go back and talk about what the live was I was going to do last week, remember? Because I don't want to keep you all day. I know you probably like, yeah, we've got a live, Raquel. We got a live. Um, and so I thought that it would be lovely for let's go and talk about the manifestation. And the main thing that I want to talk about is Neville Goddard. And let me get back to that, talking about that, because I was saying that there was because Jeffrey, my husband, Jeffrey Sean, was talking about, him manifesting things. And obviously, pardon me, men do it differently. Some men don't. I don't know. But Jeffrey does things differently than I do. I manifest in a completely different way than Jeffrey Sean manifests. You, darlings, will manifest differently than I manifest. Pardon me. But I wanted to go over living in the end because so many people talk about, oh, well, there's not divine timing. And so the question came up, and I was basically meditating, and I was asking spirit, okay, this is what I don't understand, because if from what Neville says that there's basically no divine timing, right? And I've even heard Esther Hicks talk about this, because I used to go to the workshops and everything, like drive and do all all this stuff, okay? And so I've talked to loads about that on my other lives and stuff, about why sometimes it's a feel good, and I'll listen to Esther, but I've outgrown that. And I couldn't understand. Okay, so let me explain this, right? I'm trying to get there. So I was saying to Jeffrey Sean, I said, I don't understand this because I've been manifesting, like consciously manifesting, right? We're always manifesting our whole lives. We're manifesting. And Spirit was bringing up, because of this Lionsgate coming up, all of these moments of me anchoring into Raquel, you're way farther along than you recognize or realize. And isn't that so true with us, you guys, is that we don't realize how much we've grown until we start to remember back. Oh, I remember when I was here, or I remember when I was there. And especially if you've been listening to my subliminals, you are on a fast track to becoming such a master manifester, because your timing speeds up in the way, because your subconscious is reprogramming itself, and therefore the things that you were struggling with before, they're kind of like they're going away. And so I want to have my next live be all about people that have taken and gotten the little app and the downloads of the subliminals, because there's some things that I think that you're should be at this point on your third to fourth, maybe some of them are on their 2 month. And I know that there's probably some things that are coming up that are showing discord within you, which is normal and total, because Jeffrey Sean is on the track about the same as the other people that have been doing the subliminals too. I've been doing the subliminals for 4.5 years, just because there's so many things that you can fine tune in your life. When you have a situation, isn't that what life's all about? You think you've got it all, oh, I've got life figured out, and then something hits you like whammo on the side of the head, and you didn't see that one coming. And I was telling Jeffrey, I said, isn't that life? That's life. Just when you think you have everything planned, you have everything figured out, and then, and so I said, oh, wouldn't that be a really good metaphor? Like I was talking about the metaphor about the fishing. And because Jeffrey Sean is a gardener, right? And he landscapes and gardens for, well, his full-time job now is he works for a political figure, a famous political figure, and that's his main job. He's the property manager, the landscaper, and all of that. And so, but his whole career was working for high-end celebrities, and mostly, people like John Gruden. He was the coach of the what was that team? I can't even think of it. It's a famous team. They went to the NFL. Why can't I think of it? The Bucks. Oh my God. What a ridiculous. I'm having brain fog, aren't I? Yeah, so anyway, like for the Grudens, and anyway, there's some political figures and famous people, but we try to keep that under wraps, who those people are. But anyway, the point that I'm making is he's been a landscaper and a designer, artist, horticulturist his whole life, since he was 17, and it's in his family. And I said, it isn't that how life is. You see the little architecture, the little layout, how the landscaping is going to go when you're putting this into a house, and you're doing all the layouts and da da da. And I said, and you prepare it from A to Z. You're like, this is where this is going to go. Oh, we're going to put a podocarpus here, so we're going to put shrubs here, and blah blah blah. And I said, and then when you get to it and you get on the site, sometimes all hell breaks loose, because you've got a pipe here, you got to rework that tree. That tree can't go there because the root system will ruin it and it'll be too close to the house. Then you got to rework the whole thing, and then you got to move plants and put different ones in. And that's how life is, isn't it? You can plan for it a certain amount, but then once you actually get into our lives, you start getting different things come in, and it's all in the way of helping us to grow, to learn and become better. But you can't plan for those things. So um so then that led me on to the conversation about when we're manifesting, okay? And then you hear about divine timing. Because if you grew up in religion, right? If you grew up in religion, you were taught that when a certain thing happens, right, God will bless you for that, and give you that manifestation. So once again, it's a scarcity mindset, because it's um, you're limited in your beliefs, because you believe that this person on the outside, the external, is going to give you your blessings or your manifestation. But that's not really how it is when you're thinking about Neville Goddard technique, right? You're thinking, oh, I can actually manifest anything I want. But then when does it come into divine timing? Okay, because we know there's a gestation period. And so, but because I was saying, Jeffrey, what I don't understand is, if there is no divine timing, right? Because this is what we know about Neville. Neville talks about there's no divine timing, because time is linear, right? The only people that have timing is that we have a little watch here on Earth. Everything is just, you can get into that timeline. You know how you've heard people talk about, oh, I jump timelines. It's like, how can we learn to be in this timeline first and understand it completely, rather than trying to do all this, and I'm living on planet Z and blah blah blah. I'm going to get on a tangent here in a minute, because these people are completely they should not have platforms sometimes. I really think that. That's my personal opinion. Sometimes you don't even know what you're talking about. You're living on planet um, yada 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 over here. You can't even handle this life. What are you talking about? You shouldn't be teaching other people stuff until you figure out your own stuff. You know what I mean? Tend to your own garden before you try to start tending to someone else's. It just aggravates me sometimes. That's just my um, sorry, I went on a tangent. But so anyway, I was going back to the thing that if there is no divine timing, but there is a gestation, where does that come into play, and why? Why can I, like I was telling him, and I said, what I don't understand is this, and I'm trying to flesh it out. So bear with me if you if you if you're fine with that. So say for example, uh, I'll give an example. Okay, I manifested Jeffrey in 8 weeks. Okay. Now, at the time that I manifested my twin flame, okay, I was still currently, this is telling you how you can manifest anything. Okay. And then we're going to break down the divine timing and what that actually is, so that we can understand it, because understanding is half the battle, isn't it? Okay. I was still in a 25-year marriage, okay? I had quietly already decided that I was going to divorce my ex-husband. He didn't know that. No one knew that. My oldest son had just come back from his mission 2 weeks before that, okay? Before I decided I'm moving. And I didn't tell my ex-husband that I was moving. This is all going to be in my book. Because there's some discrepancies there on the other side of this, if you understand what I'm saying. And so I already knew that I was divorcing him. He didn't know it yet, but I was going to spring this on everyone after I had already filed. Okay. So the three of the children were living at home. Now, Sawyer, my beloved son Sawyer, had already moved out. He was living on his own. He would just come over and maybe do laundry sometimes and everything. He lived in the same town, but he did not live with us. And because he couldn't handle the daddy's rules, which is understandable. But anyway, so the oldest son had come back from his mission. Sawyer never served a mission. He didn't want to serve a mission. And and then I had Zoe Kennedy and Brooker. Okay, so what I'm saying is we had just rented a house probably 4 months before that. So it was in the late after Christmas. So it was the new year and it was snowing in Oklahoma. Okay. And so I'm telling you, like within all these months, no, now behind the scenes, me personally, you know how like you go into your closet, you know how they talk about that going into your closet, which means you're going into your own mind and you're manifesting. You're going to the end. It is done. It is done. It is done. Okay. So that's what I was doing. I was manifesting a twin flame, not realizing once again, you don't know what you're doing because and you don't know how everything's going to pan out, do you? No, you don't know. You don't know how it's going to work out. You couldn't predict it in 50 lifetimes how your manifestation is going to come to you, right? If it takes the president of the United States, the president of Russia, and 2 million people for you to get your manifestation, that's how much you have to believe in your manifestation that it's done. It's done. And there is no wobble in that. There is no instability whatsoever. Then that's who are going to move. It doesn't matter who it is, what it is. You are just as wonderful and just as powerful, if not more powerful than a million people who are not. You know how I always say that. And that's an Esther Hicks saying. You know, she would say that often in her workshops, is in the Abraham workshops, you know. If it takes no, it says she would always say one person in alignment is more powerful than millions who are not, which is so true, right? But I take it a bit further because I now believe in Neville Goddard's techniques, which is we are the God of our reality, right? So I was saying to Jeffrey, I said, okay, so I can manifest you in 8 weeks. And the reason I was telling you all of those different things in the background is because all of those things, we had just rented a house. We had just moved from California. We had just had our son come. I was still attending church on a weekly basis, still having a calling. That tells you how quick my life went from A to Z in my manifestation because I held the vision, right? Pardon me. But yet, some manifestations, why do manifestations, some of them, if we're not in divine timing, take so flippin' long? And I know y'all understand what I'm talking about. There's some things that you've been wanting for 20 years, and then there's some things that's like, well, how did that happen? But then this one, it takes me freaking forever, and I've never gotten that one. And that's where it comes in to me thinking about going to the end. And so this said, literally talking. I mean, this is how we talk to our higher selves because that's who it is. That's who God, that's who Jesus is that you're talking to, is your higher self. It's the Razzie up here that sees and knows everything, right? That is basically monitoring my life and saying, Raquel, do this, Raquel, do that. It's not this man that has this, robe and long white beard. It's the aspect of us, our higher consciousness that's still with the source of all, right? And so I'm sitting there talking to myself basically like, okay, so if this is the case and this is the case, then why have I not manifested this particular thing? And this seems really, really difficult, but then I could manifest a twin flame that some people spend their lifetime, their lifetime. And yet there's this other small thing that I have not manifested and it's freaking pissing me off. It's really taken the piss out of me. And so I get sometimes like that irritated with myself and I'm talking to myself and I'm like, this is not, I'm ticked off, Oh my God, it ticks me off. Are y'all like that too? I've lost over half my audience. They're like, oh my God, she's gone off. I went to the Espits when she came out to Orlando. Oh my God, I bet you were there. Was it back in 2000? Was it 2000? What was it? Was it 2017? Is it, how do you say that? Karen? Is it Kyron? Kieran. You said you went to Esther and when she came to Orlando. Tell me. Charlotte, are you talking about? Yeah, women do that. We get so irritated. Okay, so let me go back to talking about that. So spirit spirit, my inner mermaid inner being, started showing me all of these things that I've manifested. Like, Raquel, remember you manifested you wanted to live in Heathrow in Orlando. You manifested that. When everyone told you, at the time I wasn't into manifestation. I mean, that's what I call it now, but it's basically prayer, because I didn't believe in manifestation even back then. Um I only believed in praying and believing that I would get my desire. And so I literally manifested moving into Heathrow and with a pool and blah blah blah. When my ex-husband told me, "Oh, that's never going to happen. We can't afford that," and blah blah blah, whatever, and especially with a pool. And I really wanted a pool because we lived in Florida, and I wanted the children to be able to swim anytime they wanted, especially because it's so hot here. And so, like I said, so I started going back to Neville's work, his books, like literally reading his books and talking about all these different things about going to the end. And I realized once again, Raquel, you don't lock in, because when your faith starts to wobble. Okay. So that everyone has easier things that they can manifest because they're stronger. They don't have such a strong negative belief system on certain things. There is no resistance, basically. And I never did have resistance in my marriage. Like I never believed like, oh, you're never going to get anyone else, or it wasn't even really a thought really, because when I got married in the temple because I was Mormon, and I lived that kind of life and everything. And so I've never had any resistance to that, never feeling like, oh, I've been unlucky in love or blah blah blah, whatever. And so I'm trying to like eradicate all of these different things that could come in to understand Neville's work so that I can teach this stuff, right? And so I thought, okay, so I've never had resistance. Like, that's okay, that's common. I understand that. I've known that for years, right? If you don't have resistance, you can manifest something easier. So, how do we remove the resistance? And that's why I created the Alchemy of Mermaidology, because we need to remove the barriers that are causing us not to be able to manifest. And so I started thinking about all the different houses that I had literally manifested, like the one in Heathrow. Then I manifested the one in Alabama. And it was 1925, beautiful little cute little wooden house, precious. Um and then I manifested and then I manifested the house that was put in the trust for free. Like, my next door neighbor put me in his trust for free and gave me that house, and it's been paid for I don't know, 20 years or whatever. And it's a beautiful little, it's reminiscent. He used the plans from the Florida cracker houses, which I think is really really cute. But it's obviously, it was built 20, I don't know, 23 years ago, I think. That it's pretty new. And but it's a little cedar house, and it's so charming. And so, but I manifested that for free. So, like, now I won't ever have a mortgage. I won't have land taxes for like the next 10 years that he's paid up on them, and the fire insurance and all of that. And a small estate that money was put in there. So, um why can I manifest those? Those are easy things. And yet there's some things in my life that I've not manifested, and I can't get them to manifest. And I'm like, what is the problem here? What is the problem here? And that's what I realized is that, remember when I said in that post, I said, we're not holding, and it is hard to admit too, isn't it? That we're like, oh, well, I tried to manifest that. And then you kind of give up, and then you're like, ah, screw it. Pardon me. We don't hold to the vision. Hold to the vision. That's what I've done in everything that I have manifested, It was just like, it's already done. I don't have resistance to it. I'm not thinking about it. It's already done. I don't need to get like a little rat and dig in there and let's see what's going on. You know, it's sort of like when you're planting a garden. And I'm just like, oh yeah, that's really good. That's a really good metaphor. When I'm planting like a ligustrum, or I'm planting a clipping of a rose, I don't dig the rose up and look, oh, is there any roots on it? No, I just trust that it's going to work. And if it doesn't, then I'm just going to do it again. I'm just going to restart another one. And that's sort of how we should do with our manifestations. Oh, you screwed up today? Well, get back on it. What are you doing not sleeping on that again? Sleeping on the end, going to the end, doing SATs, because I'm a really big, firm believer in SATs, state akin to sleep, right? Because SATs seems to work so quickly for me. You know, I manifested the house next door in less than 2 weeks. And every night I would just go to sleep and I would put my sound waves on and I would just visualize. What was the visualization? Oh, that I could see the deed. So I pretended that I saw a deed at his desk, because I know he has a little old-fashioned little roll-top desk over there. And I pretended that I saw a deed on that desk. This is all you're using. God is your own wonderful human imagination. So you pretend, you create a vision. That's all you do. And so depending on how you want to, whatever conjures up in your mind, whatever vision you have, that's usually the one you should go with. And you should sleep on that particular vision. Make it really quick, under 10 seconds. You don't want to, you know, think about, oh, he's pulling the drawer open and then he gets the pen out. No, you don't do all of that. You do it in less than 10 seconds, right? And you keep repeating it in your mind over and over like a script, okay? Because that's all we're doing. We're scripting it out. And so I saw the deed and it had my name on it. It said Raquel Stafford. And it said it said trust and deed. And so, and I just kept seeing trust and deed. It is done. It is done. Trust and deed. Oh, my name's on that. Look, that my name's on that. So yeah, I didn't need to like, because obviously I'm not going to tell someone what I'm doing. That oh, by the way, I'm manifesting that house I want for free. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that, you know, because the normal person, like the person that's saying, oh, I'm going to get my own house or whatever, they're going through they go through the man route. And I'm sitting, and I told Jeffrey the other night, I said, you know who my negotiator is, my attorney, my accountant, my all of these things, my doctor, my advisor. Yeah, it's my human imagination. It's God. It's not man. And so Jeffrey started laughing at that. He thought it was funny. He thought that was hysterical. But anyway, I said, yeah, why do you need to go? Oh, I'm not going the long route. Oh, you're going to have, because Jeffrey was like, babe, that isn't, I mean, honestly, I mean, that's a little far-fetched, don't you think? To manifest someone's house, like his son's on on the trust already. And I'm like, I don't care. You leave everything out of the scenario. Anything that is negative or is going to bring you into a state of feeling insecure, you ignore. So I was like, nah. If anyone tries to tell you anything negative, that's why I don't talk about things I'm manifesting now, because people try to sabotage your manifestation. And if you're not strong enough, it will work. So, so yeah, I'm not going the long route. Why would I want to, oh, I'm going to manifest a house. Okay, well, why don't you manifest it with no mortgage, no house payment? You don't need a, a rating score or any of these things. So I just think that that's the case of it. You've got to just, let me see what you're saying here. Yes, the block button is a blessing. Thank you. Yes. Well, yeah, I mean, you could say, I mean, I guess I just disagree because I'm like, I'm not looking at a credit score. I'm like, no, I'm not dealing with a credit score. I'm not, we should look at the thing of what I'm not looking like a normal person looks at something, you know, because then you put the resistance in there of saying, okay, well, now I've got to wait how long I got to wait for my credit score to get good enough. And then you got to wait for the bank to approve you. I'm like, no, I'm skipping all that. Skipping all that. I don't want to do that. And so we should believe so much in ourselves that we don't play by the rules, by Caesar rules, in the sense that obviously, if I'm going to, I've got to pay my taxes, I'm going to pay my taxes. But if there's something that I don't want to do, I'm going to manifest out of it. I'm not doing it. And we have to get so good at this because this is a part of the Lion's Gate, is that everything is falling. And I don't know if y'all have noticed that too, but so many people, like the narcissist can no longer, the mask isn't going to cover them anymore. Everyone's mask is falling. I don't know if you've noticed as well, like in the spirituality realm, that the people that are just trying to sell programs and they're all about the money, they're going to feed you a line of bullshit. Pardon my French, but they're going to feed you a load of rubbish in order for you to buy their programs. They're learning very, very quickly this shit doesn't work anymore because no one believes them. If they're wanting you, the first thing you need to run for the freaking hills is if they're going to sell all of this kind of programs, things that are so outlandish. And it's like, what have you manifested? Because I'd really like to know. Have you noticed that too? I've noticed this in the spirituality realm. Why is it that these people become so like gatekeepers? It's almost as if, okay, so you're saying, oh, I should listen to you about manifesting a twin flame, but yet I've never seen a picture of you with your twin flame on social media. I've never heard you talk about it in a video, and you've been on YouTube for 10 years plus. You got 2 million followers and you're a spiritual guru, but I haven't heard a lick of how you manifested, how you did it. You're not real to me. And so I think that that's what's happening too, is that can y'all hear the rain? The masks are falling. And that's just what's happening because people are no longer, I mean, we're in the age of Aquarius. Christ consciousness is rising. And you know what? If you've been holding on to this image or whatever, it's all falling. It's all falling. I'm telling you, you're going to see it coming and going in the political arena, in the spiritual arena, every aspect of life. People that you deal with, if you've been dealing with a narcissist or your family's one, or your mom or your sister or your brother or whatever, the mask is falling and no one can pretend anymore. There's no way around it. It's coming unglued. So let's see what else. Absolutely, totally great. Yeah. Preach to the choir. Am I boring you? I'm probably boring you, but anyway, well, I've only got 10 minutes. So do you have any questions or like anything that I could talk about for you before I go? Hello, darling. Thanks, Mary. How you doing, Mary? So anyway, I'll talk a little bit more, just a few more moments about the when you're manifesting, right? And the divine timing. Okay, so no, there isn't anything called divine timing. So if you lose all of the resistance, okay, the thing will manifest. But we have to remember that if the resistance is moved, right? If the resistance is moved, usually the reason we have resistance is because this is something usually very, very important for us. This is something that we really, really want. And there will come a time always, and I just want y'all to remember that too. And I try to remind myself that too, is that when you want something really, really badly, you're really building up a sense of this great something that will actually manifest, because it has to harden into fact at some point in your life. And you just have to believe and know that that's true, because I'm sure that you can look at your life and go, oh, I remember when I used to really want that and I got it. And it doesn't have to take 20, 30 years. You really could figure out if you can realize when and where the resistance is in your life, and then work to remove that. And it doesn't have to be, it can be in the time that's most perfect for you, because your higher self knows exactly, you know what, you're not really ready for this, because you've got some things in the vortex, like Esther used to talk about, that you don't remember. Things that, like, for example, me not having a big audience on YouTube. Like, I've been doing YouTube for 11 years and I stayed at 3,000 subscribers. Not that that's important, but I was looking at the revenue at the time, and I couldn't understand why, like, I couldn't move the numbers. Like, I just was like, I'm going to give up. And so I basically had given up. So what happened then? I let go of the resistance of feeling that I needed that. And I've always said, I've always prayed and manifested, back when I prayed before I manifest, that I would say, I want an audience. I want friends. I want a community. I want a society. I don't want people that just take in my content. I literally want to feel like, you know what, when we move into the house, if you're around this area, I'm gonna have a little get together, like a housewarming, and I want you to come visit me. Literally, I want to have tea. I want everyone to come. If you can come, if you can drive over, you know what I mean? That's the kind of friends that I want. You're not just like people that's out there in the world, like, I don't know who you are and I don't care about you. Like, I literally have never wanted an audience like that. And that's what, and that's where I needed to not worry so much about the validation. And it was my higher self protecting me from not having that, because I had forgotten about that. And then I was like, oh, that's the reason, because that was something that I never wanted. Like, who gives a crap if you have 1 million subscribers and no one could care less about you? And it's like, oh my God, I don't give a crap about this person. Unsubscribe. You know what I mean? I don't want that. I want people that are like, Raquel, we're like ride or die for you. And it's because, yeah, it's probably my insecurity too, because I never had people that, believed in me, cared about me. Like, we don't give a crap what you're like. No one in my family gives a crap what I say. You think they ever watch my videos, ever read my books, ever read my blog? No, none of them do. Never have. And the only reason, if they did read my blog, was because they wanted to make fun of me or talk about how I'm so stupid and I don't know what I'm talking about, and try to make me feel bad about myself. It's going to make me cry, because it's like that little Raquel inside me. And I'm thinking you guys might be like that too, like your own family doesn't give two squats about you. Like, oh, I've got a manuscript. You want to read it? No, don't really care about it. It's not my, I mean, that's literally what some of my family member, I don't care about that. I don't care about your Saw Your Lamb book, Oh, this is a good way to promote, my little Saw Your Lamb book. And I'm like, okay, you don't care about my book. And it's like, this is about, I took something that's tragic in my life and turned it into a lovely little positive storybook for children. But okay, like, no one in my family bought one of my books. None of my books. Never have. No. I mean, I mentioned it. Now, I know I shouldn't say that. My mom bought one for the grandchild, for her grandchildren. But as far as like people buying my book, like my parent, no. Sister-in-law, brother, they could give two rats behind about my stuff. And I'm just like, it's disheartening, because it's like the closest people to you that just don't care about you. So that's been very difficult for me. But I'm sure there's a reason for it. I'm trying to think positive, you know. But anyway, that's my whole point, is that you're really friends to me. And not just people. I mean, you're people, you're real people. So anyway, thank you for that. Thank you. So my Sagittarius wants to come out, my rising sign, please, so that I can not cry, because I want to be happy and optimistic. Ugh. But anyway, so you want me to show you the books? I'll show you. Okay, so this is a do you darlings remember when I had the little sojourn of feminine, divine feminine at the Chinsigat Hill? Remember I had the little tea thing and all of that? And I shared this little book. This was my first book. This was back in 2018 is when I published this book, and it's The Tale of Mary Maid Scarlet Rose. And so if you know anything, The Tale of Peter Rabbit, this is exactly like that, but because there's no copyright on that, The Tale of Peter Rabbit. And so I basically turned Peter into a little Mary Maid Scarlet Rose. And so that's why Scarlet Rose, the little cottage that I turned out there, remember I lived Victorian life? I turned that into, that's called Scarlet Rose Cottage. And where the little kittens and I, you know, in the pump and everything, that's, but it's basically the same story of The Tale of Peter Rabbit, but it's about a little Mary Maid. And yes, it's terrible illustration, but you know what? I had not painted. I forgot that I knew how to paint. I've told you that story since I was 12. And this is all about me rediscovering. It's basically me rediscovering self-love, and that I could do it, that I could, because I was always told, oh, you can't paint, you can't write, you're dumb, you're stupid, no one believes anything that you say. And so this was me after I left my marriage, and then me and Jeffrey were married. I had said I want to be an artist and an illustrator, and yet I can't paint, you know, I'm not a very good painter, but I did it. And so you'll see this story, and I'm not going to change the illustrations. They're just ridiculous, some of them. I'll show you some of them. But it's the most charming little story that I wrote, and I'm proud of myself. And this is going to be very much a testament to other people. And let me see what you're saying, because I know you're saying something. My family is the same way, so they are no longer my family. Yeah. Yeah. Love Peter Rabbit. Oh, thank you. You're a physician. Thank you, darling. Oh, why are there British sprinkles in my accent? Oh, I took an RP, a British RP class, and I've been speaking that way for, oh, it's a long story. I can send you the little link if you want to. Okay, so for example, let me show you, like, see this, this is one of the images. Can you see it? See, and she's in the little cave, and you know, when you're dry, you, as a mermaid, your scales go away. As little Scarlet Rose is sleeping, look at her mom. Isn't she cute? And so you want me to read that? So she was so tuckered out that she curled up upon the nice soft sand on the floor of the cypress trunk hole and shut her eyes. Her mother was busy prepping supper. She wondered what she had done with her blouse and crown. It was the second little blouse and crown that Scarlet Rose had lost in a fortnight. So this would be fun. And I would, I'm planning, you know, when we move to the farm and we move to our forever home, I'm going to have little readings and share my little books. Because I used to do little tea parties, you know, little girls will have tea parties, and little boys too. I did, I think, 2 little tea parties, and I would read this. And so I did the whole thing, you know, I'm an old-fashioned little mermaid, but I was a real mermaid. And so I'd bring my little rabbits, because little Oliver Twisty Topsy, Sir Oliver Twisty Topsy, is in this book. And here he is. See here? That's Oliver, you know, and I have him taxidermied. And so I would bring him, the little girls and stuff would feed him carrots, and it's so sweet. I think it's really, really sweet. And it's a testament to having self-love and believing in yourself. And also it's about, just as what the tale of Peter Rabbit was about, is you reap what you sow, right? So she got really, really ill and sick because she didn't listen to mom. She didn't listen to mom. But I hope you would read to you the whole book. You like would you like it? And so maybe I could read each one of my books and put it on my page. Oh, thank you, Mary. And so I just think that it's really, really quite charming. So it's supposed to be sort of like me because, you know, I worked at Wiki Watchy when I was 17. And so I was a real mermaid. I was a real mermaid my whole, until I was, I don't know, in my late 30s, you know. And then I did The Tale of Sawyer Lamb. And basically it's the black sheep. And I turned it into a little fancy. I turned everything. So everything that's in The Tale of Sawyer Lamb, notice I try to title those as though Beatrix would title her books. You know, like The Tale of the Two Bad Mice, The Tale of Peter Rabbit, The Tale of Sawyer Lamb. And so, yeah, so I'll read the back of it there. See, isn't that so cute? And this is teaching, even it's great for adults too, I'm telling you. You know, I always say 0 to 99. That's these little stories and the things that happen in this book. For example, let me read this. So when I wrote this, because I wrote this in the depths of my despair, because this is when Sawyer had passed 2 weeks in, and like I said, I couldn't paint it. I couldn't finish the illustrations in the book because it was gut wrenching. I just couldn't do it because it's literally about. You remember the tale of Jemima Puddle Duck from Beatrix Potter? Well, this is how this story ends. You know, there's only the only leftovers of what happened to Tale of Sawyer Lamb is that they find little, you know, Johnny Lamb finds the little pieces of his jacket, okay, with the brass buttons. And but it's a really sweet story, and it talks about how you can, it talks about how to heal, teaching children about death, but in a beautiful, positive way. And it's nothing horrific. It's a beautiful children's book. And it might even help you if you struggle and you've had loss in your life, that, you know, no one ever dies. No one ever really dies. You know, they transition, but their spirit lives on forever. And so maybe I should do that. Oh, thank you, Mary. You love my artwork in the book. And so look at this. I want to show you this. This is one of my little favorites too. See him running and he's got the little chickens. Isn't that so cute? See the little chickens there? And then, I mean, like I said, I'm not a great artist, but at least I'm trying. At least I try. And then this one, isn't this so cute? And anyway, so, and then this one for the Christmas time. This is new. So I just did this one last year, but, you know, read, you want me to read? Which one would you like me to read? And then this one's The Tale of the Christmas Bunnies. And this is based on Oliver Twisty Topsy, Chappie, and Buckaroo. Now, Buckaroo passed. He, like I said, I haven't picked him up from the taxidermy yet. And then Oliver Twisty Topsy, he's taxidermied in the cottage. And then we still got him. He's sitting over here in front of me. And this is The Tale of the Christmas Bunnies, and it is absolutely charming. And it's about Oliver Twisty Topsy, and he wants a friend. And it's based on all my books are based on, all of the books are based on my real life. I just turned them into stories. Can you tell? Look, this is me schluffing it. But her name is Mrs. Threadgood, okay? And that's why I'm having the tea room called Mrs. Threadgood's English Tea Room. And so all the foods and the things in the books that it talks about, like Johnny cakes, and talks about dog bread and things like that, you know, because that's what it talks about in the book. See, that's Mrs. Threadgood at the Scarlet Rose Cottage. And yeah, like treacle pudding and all of that. Those are actual things that I make in real life. And so they're going to be on the menu at the tea room. I just think it's really quite clever. What hat pin do you have in? Oh, do you like that? Look, it's a shell, and it has like a little, can you see it, darling? Yeah, it's a little antique one. But and I always talk about this. I know it looks ridiculous, but this is from my sweet little Oliver, Twisty Topsy. He used to chew on this because I would keep it on my little rocking chair over here, my little one, and he would get up on his little hind legs, and he would look at it now, it's coming, and pull it down, and he would just chew on it. So it's kind of like I remember him, you know. It reminds me of little Oliver. Oh, thank you. Yeah, it is a shell. Yeah. You know, because I'm a mermaid after all. Pearls are formed when some rock gets an oyster and it turns them into pearls. Yep. Yep, Mike, that's right. No grit, no pearl, right? All right, well, I guess I'll let y'all lovely darlings, I'll love you and leave you. But do y'all think I should put these little books, like each one do like a little segment and read the little book and put it on my channel? Do you think so? What do you think? Tell me what you think. Oh, that was upside down. And so I'm really excited about the Tale of the Christmas Bunnies. Isn't that going to be so fun? Because I had, from England, I had everything shipped over, and I had tea sets and teapots and everything with the little logos on here. The Tale of the Christmas Bunnies. And so they're beautiful little teapot. Y'all have seen those on my Instagram, haven't you? But they're from England. I had them made from England and from a fine bone china. And show your tail, please. My tail's put up in a beautiful shadow box from all my days of working. Yeah. And what is my Instagram, Andrew? It's Raquel. You can see it on the top of my YouTube channel. It's Raquel Margaret Carter. It's in all of my videos in the description box in the bottom. You third that motion. Oh, so you do think I should do the book? Should I read the books and then put them on there? Like the Tale of Mary Maid Scarlet Rose, the Tale of Sawyer Lamb, and blah, 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 whatever. Okay. Oh, do you think so? How about making it a part of your regular lives along with your other subjects? Oh, that's a good idea. Can you explain a little bit more? What do you think, darling? What do you think? Oh, okay, okay. So I'm getting more people saying that. So I hope that you have a lovely day, and it's Friday. Are you excited? Are you going on a date night? My new little thing is I was just finding another scone recipe, because a receipt, like Tasha Tuda used to call it, a receipt. I really want to find a new receipt for scone. And so I think I found one that's called honey pecan. And I'm going to try that, I think, tonight for the morning, because I've got to have, you know, a little treat a little confection with my tea, and so would you like that? Oh, thank you, Mary. Thank you, darling. Thank you, Susan. I adore you. I love you so much. Thank you. And I really do mean that. I really do mean that. You people are just, I always call you my darlings, mermaid darlings. And yeah, so maybe I might go ahead and link my, do you think that that's really preposterous to link my books on the thing for the Amazon on there? Okay, wait. I want to see what you're saying, love. I would like to see collecting eggs, hemming, shopping. Really? Would you? The hemming, the shopping, the baking? Oh, okay. I make my own dresses from, oh, good golly, I don't want my corset showing, do I? Yes, I do. And I wear a corset every single day of my life. Yeah, you probably can't tell that I got my corset on and all my underpinnings and everything. Yeah, I dress like this every day of my life. Like I was saying when I went and did that video, do y'all recall the one where it was the Stringer house? Your maiden name was Stafford? No way. Fairy darling here. Yeah. Oh, I love that. And so what was I saying? Oh, and so when I came out, when I was just was going up there, like we went out for our little date night, Jeffrey, Sean, and I. And I said, "Oh, let's go to the Stringer house. I just want to sit in the parking lot and take some photographs because I think it would be lovely." And so I got out. I was like barefooted and everything. And Jeffrey's like, "Darling, what are you doing?" And he's like, "There's cars here. We shouldn't be going." And I'm like, "Nah, it's fine. It's probably like the workers or something, you know." I didn't know they were having tours. And so I was up at the front door and it was right at 10 o'clock. And so I'm not paying attention to this at all. I'm just looking at like, oh, the little gravestone or whatever. And this lady comes out and she screams blood curdling murder. And she scared me because I'm sitting there thinking, like, now I have my normal clothes on, like my green dress and my hat and whatever, but it's just like, it's my typical daily wear. I'm just wearing it normally. And it's dark, obviously. And she grabs her chest and she falls back into the man that's behind her that was on the tour as well. And then there's another lady there, and the other young lady started laughing, and the lady was kind of irritated. I didn't tell y'all this story, but anyway, she screams and she's like, "Ah!" I mean, she screamed bloody murder, like, and scared me to death. And I started laughing because I'm like, I'm like, "Oh, I'm so sorry," because I thought she was the owner, or not the owner, but the person that was doing the tours or whatever. Because I'm like, oh, because I saw the sign in the front then immediately. And I'm like, oh, they must be having a tour. Oh my God. So it kind of messed my plans up for the photographs and everything. And so I started walking back to the vehicle because I thought they were going to yell at me for getting out and taking pictures, like I was causing a problem or something. I was a little nervous. I thought I was going to be in trouble. And so I started walking back, and they're all following one another from the tour on the porch, and they're walking around the wraparound porch. And then the lady starts talking to me. She's like, "Why are you?" And she was like almost mad at me. And she's like, "Why are you dressed like that?" She's like, "You scared me to death. This is a haunted house, And I was like, I'm sorry. I said, "Oh no, I just dress like this every day. I never, like, I just love dressing Victorian. It's just, I never grew out to loving Little House on the Prairie." That's what I always say. I never grew out to loving Little House on the Prairie. And she's like, "Oh," and then she starts talking to me, and she's really, really nice and quite kind at that point. But maybe she was thinking I was part of the tour or something, like, go out there and scare these people. I don't know what she was thinking, but that sounded like, Jeffrey's like, "Oh my God, could you imagine? You're dressed like you're like a ghost," and they thought maybe they saw a ghost or something, Raquel. And I'm like, "Oh, maybe that's what it was." Because I didn't even think of it. And so anyway, yeah, she probably thought I was a ghost. And I didn't even look at it like that because I was like, it's normal for me. You know what I mean? And so anyway, but this is, yeah, this is an 1850s. It's a very reminiscent of the dress that Tasha Tudor she used to wear all of these, with this is more of an 18, I think it's 1820s to 1850s. So it's a little bit earlier than my other one, which is yeah, my other one's an 1850s wrap dress. And yeah, I should say I'm just a prankster ghost. My God, isn't that so funny? Like, who would have predicted that? It was just so funny. And but anyway, yeah, so this was basically I dressed up like Tasha Tudor probably 6 years ago for Halloween. And I carried around a little corgi dog and the little pumpkin book that she has. And I know, Mary, isn't that funny? It's so funny. And so, but I got paint on this one day from me doing one, I think it was painting this room or something. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to use this as my work dress every day. So, and then this, on my scarf, I got paint on it, whatever. See, because it was originally, this is the hat that I still wear that, I took apart a regular little straw hat and then reworked it. But, oh, thank you, Mosey. Thank you, darling. And I should have said, yes, you scared me. Yeah, because I was scared because I thought, oh my God, I'm getting in trouble. I'm about to get in trouble. Like they thought, what are you doing here? And, but I was like, I wasn't doing anything wrong. I was just taking a photograph of of the manor house. So, oh, you have my same name of my beloved Sawyer. Christian? No, I'm not a Christian. I'm spiritual. But yeah, I used to be Christian. I know people think, oh, you didn't lose the Pentecost or the Mormon style of clothing, did you? So, anyway, well, I love you and I'm going to leave you now. And I thank you for showing up. Christ consciousness. Yes, absolutely. Thank you, darling, for saying that and clarifying. But anyway, yes. So, and this is my old apron as well. You've always got to have an apron now. You got to have an apron. And yes, stand up, Razzie. Oh, okay. Let me see if I can move this out. I'm in my parents' in the cottage. These are little velvet curtains I made. I handmade those. I love to make anything handmade. Now, let's see. I don't know if I can show you this. See? It's you can't really tell too much. Let's see if I can let me show you from this way. Oh, those are my under things. But this, I have this pattern if you would like the pattern. Because I think I'm trying to think what the pattern is. But it's all pre-done, see? And then the back, and then you've got the cording here on the sleeve. So it's a 18, like I said, I think it's 1820s to 1850s pattern. And this is how they all go. Now, you have to understand, I've been wearing this since this morning. So, but you have little hook and eyes here, but it's a form fitting. Now I look really overweight because I've got 5 layers on under here, I've got all my underpinnings on, so there's loads. And that's my petticoat, so you're not seeing anything inappropriate. But see how it has the pin tucks here and everything too. And the collar, you could do it with a collar or not. And I think I'm going to do like a lovely little Peter Pan collar next time, you know what I mean? Because I think it might look nicer on me, and do maybe a ruffled little sleeve here, like put a little ruffle there on the cuff. What type of socks? Oh, I wear the ones from, what's that company? They're the black stockings with the little The thigh, you know, the ribbons. Uh, oh, what the colony would wear, but they cover hair with scarf. Oh, okay, I see. Um, yeah, so I can, if you want me to, I can link the pattern because I think it's, is it a folkwear pattern? It might be a folkwear pattern. No, Mary, I don't get hot. I mean, obviously, yeah, I get hot if I'm outside working and everything, but um, you know, my clothing is all like it's either wool or it's either all cotton or linen, and so and I source it usually from England, and I have it sent over because, or a couple of other beautiful companies that have like reproduction fabrics from the Victorian era, and you know, now obviously like for my aprons and stuff, sometimes I'll use old bed sheets or whatever I have so I can recycle, you know, make do and mend, darlings. And yeah, they didn't need BBLs back then, no. Plenty of layers, yeah, exactly. And so um but I think you just get used to. I mean, I've just gotten used to it. Now, I have to admit, when I first started wearing, now the reason, honestly, that I started wearing a corset was because I had taken to the bottle. You know what I mean? For when I was going through my divorce, and although I was married and happily ever after, and all of that, um, you know, there was loads of things that I was going through and everything because I was having my spiritual awakening. And so I was like drinking wine like every night. Like I was like, oh my God, I need a glass of wine. And so, and I really, really gained weight. I had never drank in my entire life, you know, because I was Christian, never touched alcohol. And so, but I was like, oh, this is pretty good. I like this, you know, the spirit's there. And but I gained on weight, and I had never done that in my entire life. And I said, oh no, we can't have this. So that lasted about a hot 4 months. And then I realized, oh my Lord, I've gained quite a bit of weight, you know, and I got to get this off. And so I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start completely full blown wearing old fashioned clothes again. And I got rid of all of my modern clothing and threw them in the tip. And so I couldn't go back, you know. If so, I was going to have to rebuy things. And I was like, I'm not doing that. And so I just started, you know, I had a few outfits that I had been given by a sweet dear aunt that I had. Because remember, I moved with only 2 suitcases. And that's all the belongings. My entire life was in 2 suitcases. And so at that time, my aunt, my dear aunt, she, you know, was a thrift flea market girl and Goodwill kind of, and she had all old fashioned clothing, and like authentic old fashioned. And so I would wear the daylights out of those clothes. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to just start making my own clothes again. Cause I mean, I've been sewing since I was 14. And I was like, I'm just going to make some clothes and I'll just rewear those, like I did with my children when they were young. I smocked, you know, a certain amount of outfits, and they just wore those over and over. I just took the same pattern and made, you know, 10 outfits for each child, and then I passed them down or whatever. And same thing with their like day gowns and their little jumpers and their little bubble, you know, smocked outfits and everything. Cause, you know, I'm very much English in that sense that, you know, all my kids wore smocked clothing till they were really, really old. You know, most people didn't know that I had boys. They thought that they were girls until they got their first haircut at like 4. And they just thought it was appalling that I would cut a little girl's hair off to a little boy's haircut. And I'm like, no, 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 it's a little boy. And but they all had really long hair until they were, you know, 3 or 4 years old. It was just so beautiful, and I didn't want to cut it. And they wore, you know, little knee socks and little Oxfords, and the boys all wore day gowns. That's just how they do it. That's how they did it in the Victorian era as well. And so my boys ran around in day gowns when they were toddlers and little, you know. So it was so funny because I remember this one old lady. I mean, she was like 87 or something, and she came to me at church. And Brooker, which was my third, son, you know, he's the one that has like the really, really red auburn hair. And I wouldn't even say it's auburn, it's very bright red. And he had a little boy haircut, you know, and it was up here, but he had hair way down to his waist. And she says, I can't believe that you cut that poor little girl's hair off to make her look like a little boy. Why would you do that? She was so irritated at me. I said, oh no, sister so and so, it's a little boy. And she's like, oh, she clasped her pearls. She was so offended. All right, darling. You darlings have a good night. Why wait until 4? Oh, because I think it was they were going into kindergarten, and and they're kind of getting out of that stage of being little baby, you know what I mean? Is like, oh, I guess I'm gonna have to cut it, you know? And so yeah, I just felt like it there was no rule to it. It was just, I think it's time now, you know. And so maybe the other ones, I think even Sawyer I may have cut his earlier than that. Maybe his was, because I have all of theirs in lockets framed in little frames from their first haircut. But anyway, that's the story for that. Now, obviously, Zoe Kennedy, I never cut her hair. Um, Hello, darlings. Hello. So, well, I will let you go. I hope that you had a lovely time. Thank you for visiting me. And if you can think of anything or anything that I need to be reminded of, just put it in the comments, would you? All right, darling. It's Happy Friday. It's Lionsgate. Are you making any manifestation notions? I want to hear all about them in the comment section if you would tell me. I would love to hear it. I'll tell you what I'm manifesting, okay? All right, darlings. I love you. Cheers, toodle pip.